Hello students, welcome to the science online class. In this class, we are going to study that is soil erosion and soil conservation. So, it is very clear that we are going to study about soil. How important this soil in our life? It is very important. How? For example, from the soil, we are getting 90% of all products from the soil itself. What are those? If you take the plants, plants are considered as producers. Why they are producers? We get food from the plants. That is why they are called as producers. And these producers, where do they get energy from? They get energy from the soil. Okay? So, they are getting energy from the soil, they are getting nutrients from the soil. Animals, human beings, we from the plants. So, indirectly, everyone is depending on the plant, everyone is depending on the soil, and not only that, to produce food grain also, we have to depend on the soil. So, this is also another important one. So, soil is very important natural source that is available for us, but there are some effects for this soil. What are those? The first one, as it mentioned in the lesson itself, that is soil erosion. What is that? Soil erosion. What is this soil erosion and how to prevent that, and how to conserve our soil, and how we are become responsible for the soil erosion, the natural forces that are causing this soil erosion, what is weathering, how soil forms and how rocks forms, we will see all in this class. So, now let us start with that, the formation of the soil. As I said, not only we, animals and everything that depends on soil, and this soil is made up of metals and minerals. What are they? Metals and minerals. So, there are metals and minerals are present in this soil, and in the soil itself plants they grow. And how this soil forms? If you observe the soil carefully, the particles of the soil, and you can see similar in the rocks also. Do you know how this soil forms? It is due to the process of weathering. What is this weathering? Weathering means these rocks, due to the natural forces of like action of rain, action of wind, okay, with these forces, the huge rocks, they are broken into smaller particles, and these smaller particles, they deposited in different places, and it converts as a soil. So, soil is nothing but it is formed from the rocks. So, in the rocks metals and minerals are present. So, in the soil itself metals and minerals are present. So, I think now you understand what is this weathering and how soil forms. Weathering. So, rocks are weathered due to blowing winds and flow of water and rain also. So, it depends on their forces. If there are less forces, then this process may be slow. If there is a huge force of wind, rain, flow of water, with that this process may be fast. But what do you think, how much it is fast or how much? If you take any rock to convert as a soil, it takes almost thousands of years. Yes, it takes thousands of years to convert as a soil due to the process of this weathering. So, now I hope you understand the process of weathering, how soil forms. and this soil is an upper layer on the ground, upper layer of the ground, and whenever rain falls due to the flow of water, rainy water, and due to the winds, the top layer it blows away due to the force of these natural forces, and the blown away of the top layer of the surface, earth surface, is called as soil erosion. What is that? Soil erosion. Soil erosion. And what causes this soil erosion? As I said that running water, okay, wind and rainy water and the speed of the wind, all these causes the soil erosion. And what are the effects of this soil erosion? Okay, if that soil erodes from that place, what could be happen? The reason is, first one, the whole minerals, nutrients, they are present in the topsoil. So if that topsoil, if that eroded, with that what happens? Plants, they do not get nutrients from the soil. So then that land, it does not fertile. What is the meaning of fertile? Fertile means the land which has strength to produce a lot. Fertile land, the land which has nutrients in itself. But when the topsoil eroded, blows away, with that what happens? That land, it loses its nutrients present in the topsoil. So with that, plants, they cannot grow properly in that land. Okay? And as I said, for this soil erosion, if we control the agents that are responsible for this soil erosion, then we can control this soil erosion. How? In that first one, let us see here, running water causes soil erosion. Running water causes soil erosion. If it rains continuously due to floods or with the force of rainy water, what it does? It carries away the topsoil with it. As it carries away topsoil with it, and it all settles that topsoil or that soil particles at one place. And even due to the high settlement or high deposit of these soil particles, this river also they changes its direction. Why they changes the direction? Because due to the high amount of soil particles deposited across their path. And again, as they changes their direction, in another direction also they start to carry the topsoil with it. So especially, as I said, rainy water it carries. Then how we can control this soil erosion? The first one is that we have to plant saplings as much as possible. How can we control by planting the saplings this soil erosion? The reason is that, as we know that plants, the roots of the plants, they are under the soil, and these roots, they hold the soil firmly. As they hold the soil firmly, due to the natural forces, that topsoil, it does not erode easily. So with that, we can say that planting saplings as much as possible can control the soil erosion. And not only that, the deposition of the fertile top layer of the soil in river bed is called silting. What is this river bed? River bed means a channel or a route where the river water goes, that is called river bed. So the deposition of fertile topsoil, as I said, that river, it comes from the so many villages, it comes from the so many different places. From all the different places, it carries the topsoil with it, and it deposits at the place, one place or any other places. So we call that as silting. What is that? Silting. silting. And so unless they change their course, if they change their course, then it will be more dangerous. What is this course? C-O-U-R-S-E. Course meaning the route or direction of the river flow. The route or direction of river flow. So if that river, if it deposits the topsoil at particular place, then it changes direction. That means it changes its course. So with that, it can affect the another land also. Okay. So all these causes the soil erosion. I will tell you two famous examples. They are, for example, Yellow River in China. What is that? Yellow River. Yellow River, it is in China, and we call this as, it is also called as Huangho. It is also called as Huangho, and it has another name also, that is Sorrow of China. That is Sorrow of China. Why do we call this as Sorrow of China? The reason is that it also changes its course frequently, and it causes the damage of property and life also. So that is why Chinese, they call this Yellow River or Huangho River as Sorrow of China. Not only in the China country, in our country also we have similar type of river. Do you know where it is situated? It is in Bihar. It is in Bihar, and the river name is Kosi. River name is Kosi, and it is in Bihar. So we can see same similar type in Kosi also. This Kosi river also, it changes its course. With that, it also damages the property and life of people. So till now we have seen that running water, how it causes the soil erosion. Now let's see agents, how do they cause soil erosion. So let's see that first one, wind, how it causes the soil erosion. As I said earlier that due to the high speed of the wind, it causes the soil erosion, and the picture has been given very clearly in your textbook. Actually, soil erosion and formation of soil, these two are always balanced. As I said that from the rocks, soil forms, and top of the soil, it blows away due to the natural forces. Okay. So formation of soil and this one, they both are always balanced, but in some situations, if the balance is disturbed, then it causes the dangerous situation for us. How it would be dangerous situation? Because as we are depending to produce grains on the soil, if there is no fertile land, because of due to this soil erosion, that land, it loses its fertile, it loses its top fertile soil. So with that, what happened? So we cannot do the farming on that land. So with that, we cannot produce as much as we need food grains. So that is why we should control this soil erosion in some different following methods. But before that, let us see how this wind causes the soil erosion, and not only that, how water, and then after what are the human activities. So let us see here first one, wind, that is the top layer of soil can be easily blown away by strong breeze or wind. As you can see this picture, in this picture it is clearly given, soil erosion caused by wind. So if that is an open place, then due to the high speed of the wind, it can carry easily the topsoil of that land. So if it carries with it topsoil, then how can we do the farming on that land? How can we grow the crops? Is it possible? No, it is not possible. So then what should we do to control this? So especially this becomes the major problem for the farmers. So farmers, they suffer because of soil erosion. And not only this, human activities, we also causes for this soil erosion. How we are responsible for this soil erosion? The first one is deforestation. What is that? Deforestation. So, what is this deforestation? As the population is increasing, so we need much space to live comfortably, to build houses, to build bridges, or to build any apartments like this. Okay? So, we need as much as place. Where do we get place? Either we have to fill the trees, otherwise we have to reduce the farming land. So, in these two cases we can get the land as much as possible. So, with that, as we need comfortable human beings, we are cutting trees regularly, we are causing this deforestation. The number of forests day by day are decreasing due to we are doing that. So, this deforestation is also causes for the soil erosion. You may have a doubt how this deforestation causes the soil erosion. That is, generally in the forest what is present? Plants and so many big trees will be present in the forest. So, as the plants and trees are present in the forest, they have roots and they hold the soil firmly. As they hold the soil firmly, and due to heavy rains or due to heavy winds, so soil it will not blown away by these natural forces. So, we can prevent this, we can control this soil erosion with the forest, with the increasing in number of forest. And not only that, even if the high wind comes, the structure of the plants and trees, they can stop that force of wind. With that, what happens? The topsoil, it will not be blown away. So, but we are causing this, we are responsible for the deforestation, and at the same time we are responsible for the soil erosion also, because deforestation causes the soil erosion. And not only that, there is another reason. What is that? Plowing. What is that? Plowing. So, what do we do in this plowing? So, before we start cultivation in our land, so we first plow. Plow means first we will change the topmost, bottom of the soil to the top, just we will change the soil. So, with that what happens? The soil which is bottom, it comes to the topmost, and with that the nutrients will be present there, and as small saplings they can get nutrients easily with this process of plow. So, generally we plow our fields before we start farming, and this plowing also causes the soil erosion. How? Due to this plowing, as the soil, the bottom of the soil, as it comes to the topmost, and it is very loose soil. As it is loose soil, due to that, due to heavy winds and rains and flow of rains, with these the topmost layer it just blown away. So, this is also causes the soil erosion. So, what are the first one is deforestation and second one is plowing. And there is another reason also. What is that? Overgrazing. Overgrazing. So, overgrazing also causes the soil erosion. How this overgrazing is responsible for the soil erosion? What is the meaning of grazing? Grazing means animals just like cows, goats, sheep, they eat leaves, soft plants, grass. Okay? And while these animals graze, as they eat that grass or soft plants, when they eat that, with that plant, the topmost soil it comes out and it becomes loose, because these animals they are pulling the plants. As they are pulling the plants, these plants they hold the soil firmly, and if that plant is coming out, and with that the soil also comes out. So, with that the soil becomes loose. As the soil loose, due to the natural forces of air, wind and running water, so the topmost soil will be blown away. So, with that again soil erosion can happen. So if we control these three, deforestation and plowing and overgrazing, if we control these, then we can control the soil erosion. And not only that, if you see here, banking of rivers. What is this banking of rivers? Banking of rivers means as the water flows along the river, as I said, it carries with it topmost soil and it deposited at some places. And if there are no banks for the river, for example, banks means a high raised structure to prevent the flow of water. Okay, if there are no banks, then what happens? Water comes out from the river and again it disturbs the topsoil of from another place. It comes out and it disturbs the another place also. So that's why the banking of rivers, they can also be control this soil erosion. So the banking of rivers should be very strong. With that we can control this soil erosion. And especially when rivers get floods when the flow of water will be heavy. So with the flow of water, as the force of water is huge, with that it can carry as much as possible soil with it. The how much at what soil it can carry, it depends on the force and speed of the running water. If force and speed is high, it can carry so much amount of soil with it. If the speed and force is low, in such case it cannot carry so much soil with it. So it depends on these two factors also, and especially when floods happen, when floods occur, in that situation also this soil erosion increases. So more land should be converted in green pasture lands for the animals to graze. So what we have to do to overcome from the overgrazing, and as it said, this is responsible for the soil erosion. So we have to plant as many as possible. So with that, though animals they eat these soft plants and grass, we can control still soil erosion. And another important term, that is soil conservation. What is this soil conservation? In the we have soil conservation. So conservation meaning protection of the soil from this soil erosion. Protection of soil from soil erosion is called as soil conservation. We are conserving the soil by adopting some different methods. So let's see how to conserve our soil. As I said, first one, avoid overgrazing by animals. How to avoid overgrazing by animals? The first one is, we should not allow animals to graze only at particular place. We have to change their place regularly. If they graze particularly at one place, in that place what happens? They eat completely that soft plants and leaves and small plants. Then that land will become completely open up. So, and if they graze in different places, then amount of leaves and soft plants in that place. So there are still some plants will be present in that area. They can control the soil erosion. So that's why these animals, these should not be allowed to graze regularly in one place. So by using this method also we can control the soil erosion. So as much as possible we need to minimize the damage of soil erosion, because if this erosion continuously happen, then we cannot produce that we need that much grains, because as the population is increasing regularly and the expectations are also increasing, but they know that what happened, adulteration. So dealers and everyone, they are adulterating to give, to supply available. So but if we control this soil erosion, with that in a less area we can produce as much as possible. So, with that we can meet up to the mark of food production. Okay. And as I already said that banking of rivers also. So, both the banks they should be, then water comes up, causes soil erosion again. And next, planting of grass and shrubs. Grass and shrubs. Shrubs are, they are very small, they are very close to the ground. Grass approximately very small, and that is very close to the ground. So, these shrubs and grass, these hold the soil firmly, and we should cover the complete land with these either grass or with the shrubs. So, as much as possible, if we cover the ground with these plants, then the natural forces, rain, wind, they do not cause much soil erosion. Okay, so that's why we have to plant as much as possible. And not only that, after the harvesting and before raising the next crop, in the middle time soil can occur more, because after the harvesting plants present on the ground, as the plants present, again the soil erosion can happen before the next crop. So, before we get into the next crop, there will not be plants present. So, with that in the middle, in the meantime, what the soil can be eroded. So, to prevent this, what we can do that farmers, they should encourage some cover crops. What is that? Cover crops. They land with some different crops which can cover complete land in that way, in such case. In addition, they can plant the trees and bushes should be grown along the boundary of their fields. Plant trees, long plants. With that, they can stop that blowing wind. They can stop blowing wind, and with that, at least as much as possible, we can control the soil erosion. And next, not only that, covering hill slopes with forest. The next topic here, covering hill slopes with forest. For example, if you see landslides, what is the meaning of landslides? In some places you can see lands are very high, and from high places sometimes they fall even on the ground. Do you know why these landslides occur? Due to the lack of trees, due to the lack of presence of trees on that. As there are no trees or plants present there, so that at any one place, if that land disturbed and they slide down, it slide down, and these landslides may be dangerous, because if any person, if he passes through that at that point, if that happens at the same time, he may lost his life also, and it can even block the roads also. Okay, so this may be dangerous to our property and life also. And this landslides also we can control by planting as much as possible saplings and trees. Okay, as much as possible. With that, they will hold this soil, and with that, this land, they cannot move easily. It does not move, that soil does not move easily. Okay, so with that we can avoid. And then after, terrace farming. Terrace farming means, here you can see image very clearly that. So, we call this as terrace farming. In hill slopes especially, some people they follow this method, terrace farming. So, you can see it slopes, downside it is coming. With this we can control the soil erosion, and at the same time we can use water productively to provide every plant present in these slopes. And alongside, so totally on sides of these hill slopes, we have to plant the trees, very big trees. With that, they can stop the blowing winds, and with that they can save this hill crops, especially terrace farming. Okay, so on the hill slopes also helps in soil conservation there. And now the next last one, making small burns around the fields. making small burns. What is the meaning of burns? Bunds. Bunds, it can also be called as embankment. It is also called as embankments. So, bund or embankments, they are a raised platform to avoid this soil erosion. For example, if we give the water continuously to our fields, okay, if that water is become excessive, then it comes out from the field, it goes out, and not only that, it carries the topmost soil with it. So, to control this, what we have to do? We have to make burns and we have to build these embankments surrounding our fields. With that, a raised structure, it does not allow excessive water to go out. So, with that also we can control the soil erosion. So, all these steps, whatever we have seen here, all these steps, they can help us in conserving the soil. As we are discussing here soil erosion and soil conservation. So, what are the major agents that are responsible for the soil erosion? They are rain, wind, running water. These are responsible for the soil erosion. Soil erosion means, what does it mean by soil erosion? The topmost soil, due to the natural forces, they blown away. So, we call this process as soil erosion, and protecting our soil from the soil erosion is called as soil conservation. And to conserve our soil, we can follow the different methods. For example, building embankments surrounding the fields and developing the forest, and as much as possible encouraging the planting saplings. Okay. So, with that, and farmers also, they can follow the mixed crops, that is before the next crop or after harvesting, they can cultivate the small crops which can cover the land completely. With that also we can control the soil erosion. So, with all these we have seen, and not only that, when we add water, I mean when we pour water on the land, generally what happens? It percolates into the soil. It percolates. What is that word? Percolates. It percolates. So, that water, it enters into the layers of the soil. We call it as a percolation. But this percolation, it is different in different soils, in black soil, in red soil. So, this percolation is also different from the different soil. And especially, as I said, that plants, they absorb nutrients from this soil. So, how do they get nutrients from this soil? They cannot get the nutrients directly from the soil. They can get nutrients through water. When water is mixed up with the soil, then that nutrients mixed up with the water, and from the water, through the water, they absorb the nutrients. So, to grow plants properly, both soil and water are very, very important natural sources. So, now let us see a quick roundup, that is, soil contains metals and minerals in its layers. So, it also grows plants, and almost everything, it depends on the soil itself. And weathering, it is the process of rocks, it broken into smaller particles. Rocks that broken into smaller particles, and that smaller particles causes the formation of the soil, and we call this process as weathering. And then after wearing off or carrying away topsoil from one place to another place due to the natural forces is called soil erosion, and the protection of the soil from the soil erosion is called soil conserving. And we can follow this conserving is the causes the lack of fertile, it causes the soil to lose its fertile. So, with that soil or that land, it cannot produce much crop, much production. Okay. So, now here let us see the multiple choice questions. The first one, plants and trees hold the soil with their roots or branches or leaves. What is the answer? Roots is the answer. Second one, the upper layer on the earth's surface. What is that upper layer? That is soil. Soil is the upper layer of the earth's surface. Next, which part of the plant draw nutrients and water from the soil? Just now as I said, roots. Roots, they absorb nutrients from the water and soil. What helps in soil formation? What is that helps in soil formation? That is wind, soil formation, that is wind and rain and running water. These three are causes the soil formation, and at the same time these three are causing soil erosion also. These three causes soil formation due to the large or huge amount of rocks. Due to these natural forces, they broken down into smaller particles, and that rocks converts into as soil. And this topmost soil also, due to these natural forces only, it blown away from that top. So these three forces, what are they? Rain, wind, running water. These three forces, they form the soil, and at the same time they also causes for soil erosion. So now here the answer is wind and rain and running water. So option C is correct. Now the fifth one, the river Huanghe is known as the sorrow of. Sorrow of which country? China, because it is situated in China country. What is that river name? Huanghe. And what is its another name? It is another name is Yellow River, and it has also another name. What is that? Sorrow of China. Next, sixth one, soil erosion is due to, it is due to deforestation, overgrazing of animals. So we also, our activities, human activities are also causing for this soil erosion. Okay, as we have seen plowing also, this is also one of the reason for the soil erosion. Now let us see here blanks. The first one, we can check soil erosion through dash processes like planting more trees and changing patterns of forming embankment and planting hedges. So what is here? Several processes. These are several processes. With that we can control this soil erosion. What are those processes? First one is planting more trees. So planting as much as possible trees, and not only that, changing pattern of forming, changing pattern of forming. And what is the another one? Embankments. Planting hedges. So these are the processes. By using these several processes, we can check or we can control this soil erosion. And now let us see here in Bihar, the river dash also, the second one, soil is the dash on the earth's surface. What is that? Upper layer. Soil is the upper layer on the earth's surface. Third one, the deposition of the fertile top layer of the soil in the river bed is called, as I already told you, that is called as silting. What is that? Silting. The deposition of the fertile top layer of the soil in the river bed. Fourth one, in Bihar, the river dash also changes to its course frequently. What is the meaning of course? Its route or direction. And what is that river in Bihar? That is Kosi. Kosi, and it is situated in Bihar. And next, fifth one, farmers suffer a lot because of soil erosion. Next, sixth one, dash forming on the hill slopes helps in soil conservation. What is that forming? What type of forming? Terrace forming. So terrace forming, it also helps in the soil conserving. Terrace forming. So terrace farming, it is also helps in the soil conserving. Let's see the true or false. With this we'll finish the lesson. First one, 95% of our basic needs for food, shelter, clothing are fulfilled from the land. Is that true or false? We are getting shelter from this land. How it is possible? For example, if you take the trees, how did they get that shape and size? Because they got nutrients from the soil, that's why they got that shape, and from that we can prepare our required or needed materials from the wood, and then after, so with that we can get the shelter also. As we are building our construction of the house, its whole stand on the ground. Okay, and the next one, that is clothing. How clothing? It depends on the soil. This clothing is especially, there are two types of fibers, natural fibers and artificial fibers. We get natural fibers from plants and animals. So indirectly plants and animals, they are depending on the soil. So we are also depending on the plants for the fibers, and we get cloths from the fibers. So we are also depending on the soil. So in that way, this clothing also and shelter also, and not only everything from the we get from food, also we get from the soil itself. So this is almost 95% of our all basic needs we get from the soil itself. So this statement is correct. Second one, soil is tiny bits of rock that have been broken down many times in size. Really, the huge shape of rocks, they broken down into small pieces, with that soil forms. It is correct statement, true. Third one, rivers flowing down a hill do not carry any soil with them. Rivers flowing down, definitely it carries soil with it, but he is saying not carrying, it does not carry. So it is the false statement. Now look at the fourth one. If the soil is too much in quantity, the river cannot continue to flow along its regular course. Yes, as the river, it carries so much amount of soil with it. If that deposits at a particular place, then the river water, it cannot flow through that course. Then it changes its course, it changes its direction. So this is the correct statement. Fifth one, the top layer of soil can be easily blown away by strong gust. By strong gust. What is that word? Gusts. By strong gust of breeze or wind. So strong gust means a sudden. Okay, it is a sudden strong rush of wind. Sudden strong rush of wind. So we call it as a gust. Okay. So now here, is that correct or not? So the top layer of soil can be easily blown away by strong gust of breeze. Yes, it is true. So with the sudden and strong rush of the wind, the top soil, it can be blown away easily. As you can see that picture easily here, it is clearly presented in this picture. Yes. Now let's see the last one. Sixth one, that is, if the farmers make small burns around their fields, the chances of soil erosion get reduced. Yes. So if they build that burns around their fields, in such case farmers can control the soil erosion. So with this, we have learned so many important things about soil erosion and soil conserving. So with this, we have finished our lesson. I'll see you again with another interesting lesson in our next session. So till then, bye. Thank you.